Morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of The Outside Bet. I'm actually rushing today, so if you could like, subscribe, and comment on the video, that would be great. The podcast apparently is nearly ready, should be ready next week when we've got an international break. So people will be able to listen to it without looking at my face, which would probably be a winner. And secondly, just as a point of admin, we've had a couple of questions in. We'll try and answer them as we go along. I would like to say at the start of the podcast, remember the Palmeiras bet, which is tonight after midnight, and it was discussed in episode 3. So jump into that if you can. Go and listen to that podcast and get it. I have done some work, and there will be a bet at the end of this podcast, which is on the Watford game on the Championship slate, which starts on Friday night. So I found one bet for us, which is the aim of the podcast, really, but obviously some days you just can't find a bet. But so far, every day we have. Next week it will not be as good because of the international football. As I said, it's a shorter pod today because I'm going up to London for the award ceremony for my actual real job, which is, if you didn't know, is I used to be a head of trading for a hedge fund, and I'm now a consultant in the asset management industry. And as such, we have posh awards at this time of year, and there's an award ceremony in the Savoy, which I'm attending to tonight. So hence me doing a sitting down pod in a wood, because it's called the Outside Bet. But at the same time, I'm going off to London, and I will not be outside again for the rest of the day, which is a bit of a shame, but it's still a posh dinner. So we may as well review what happened last night, first of all. If you're going to start a podcast and you're going to do some bet gambling picks, what would be nice would be if the first 2 bets won. And on Tuesday night, our bet won. And then last night, Wednesday night, our bet won. So thank you, Preston. Thank you for starting the podcast off so well. We don't win all of our bets. As I say, we try and win approximately 60% of our bets, and we try and place our bets at evens. And it just so happens the first 2 have won. If we reviewed last night's results in full, we got 1 exact score out of 4 games in the EFL. We lost a bet, which is a shame for the subscribers to the premium product who get all of our bets and probably followed that in. But we won a bet, so those 2 bets will scratch. And both the leans we booked came in, including the one where we traded the unders. And by trading the unders, that meant we had an up night anyway on the book, which was great. And Preston won, which is the free bet which was given out on this podcast, episode 3. And so that's absolutely fantastic. And when that happens, it means that everyone goes along a bit smiley, a bit happier. Or was it given out on episode 2? It was given out on episode 2. Apologies. I've decided to push ahead, and because it's Thursday, we normally try and get a bet on a Friday night game. Now, there are only 4 games on a Friday night in the markets that we cover. The markets that we cover for Friday night that have got a game are La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and the EFL Championship. There's 1 game in each, a little Friday night weekend opener. So I've processed those leagues first. I wouldn't normally do it in that order, but I wanted to make a podcast today, even if it's a short one. And I wanted to keep the momentum going and find another bet. So tonight, we've got the Palmeiras bet, which was given out in episode 3. This is episode 4, and we've got a bet on the Watford game from the Championship. I think there were a couple of leans. I'll get to my notes in a minute from the other leagues, but there wasn't a full bet on any of those. So 1 bet's about right on a Friday night. Sometimes on a Saturday and Sunday, there can be more than 1 bet. I may only give out 1 bet on the podcast, and that's because our premium subscribers pay for all of our bets. And there's no way that anything we can do on this podcast or on Patreon or on anything else that can damage our premium product, because it's actually the day job. With that in mind, I have had a couple of messages in from subscribers or people who are interested in joining a Patreon when we start, which we've had quite a bit of interest in, so thank you. Firstly, FPL. The question has raised its head, and as it's a Thursday when I do my own FPL work, it's a pretty good day to talk about it. We are not going to do FPL. We're not going to be an FPL podcast. We are FPL players, and so is everyone in my family, and we study how it works, and we're quite serious players. I'm not a very good player. There are a couple of people in our group and circle that are very good. I am a subscriber and listen to, as a patron, above average FPL, and I'm also a patron and subscriber to Planet FPL, and I also listen to The Wire every week, as well as other bits of content. We can look into FPL meta and how the shift between teams works, because we see that coming in our momentum work, and it's the momentum graphs and the hot streak graphs and all of the data that we provide that shows a team's form coming from a team's fixtures becoming the team's form is super relevant to FPL. So with the big change you've got coming up in FPL, which is that Liverpool, Man City, still a bit of Arsenal and Man United are actually going to have good fixtures swinging in. And that means that the Chelsea players will need to be rotated, and you'll see that meta shift changing soon. So we might cover a bit of that in future weeks, especially in the international break. Maybe we'll do a whole podcast on how we look at things. And the other one is the Champions League. So a little quick scan at last night's results. I would say it was a brilliant night for the English clubs, but Chelsea and the carrier bag boys drew 2-2. Poor result, but they're just resting players and they're just hoping to get through. And if you don't get in the top 8 this year, it's going to be another 2 games. But Chelsea squad's so strong, they probably think they'll take their chances. They'll probably still hope to get in the top 8, but you can't draw away to carrier bag. Man City win, boom, not a problem. Who was the other game last night? I'm pretty sure I watched it. Oh, it doesn't matter. It wasn't a good night of Champions League football. All the action was on Tuesday night. And so, moving on. Oh, that's right. I didn't watch it because I was watching the EFL because I wanted to see my lean on the unders game and trade that properly. And traded that, won my money, and then stopped watching. Tonight, there's no point in me going out anyway because everyone in our house is going to be watching Traitors. I don't know about you. But enough of all that nonsense. Let me just check whether there's anything else we need to say. I haven't got a script at all today because, as I say, I've got about 6 to 10 minutes to record this, give you some content, put it in the slot, and then say, here's the bet. So if I go through them quickly, there's no leans on the Friday night game in Spain, which is Elche versus Real Sociedad. There are no leans in the Serie A Friday night game, which is Pisa versus Cremonese. In the Werder Bremen versus Wolfsburg, we have a slight lean to the unders. That means the unders are being mispriced by the bookies, which means anything that you are betting on where there's going to be less goals than the bookie thinks will have some value in it. And I don't like betting on unders, especially on live matches, especially in evening home games if the home team is favourite. So I won't even trade that lean. I'm just giving you it because it's a lean on our numbers. The only other lean in that game is that Werder Bremen giving away a quarter of a goal handicap on the Asian handicaps looks good value. We've got them to win that game by 0.86 of a goal. We think the game will finish 2-1. It's quite a strong prediction for us. And so if you can get any value or you fancy betting anything, then a Werder Bremen lean, it's not for us. It's not enough in it for us. But you could add it to a bet builder or an accumulator or something. It's a solid home win bet. And if you can get some value, good one. I mean, I can't get enough value. That brings me on to the Watford bet, which let me just timestamp this. So at 8 minutes 15 into the video, please like, subscribe, please comment, please ask for if you want any other leagues covered. Just make some comments and make some noise, tweet about our podcast, do anything you need to. Obviously, it will be on audio next week. And the tip of the day is for Friday night's game, which is Watford at home to Bristol City. We have Watford to win this game by 1.11 goals. We have a total goals of 2.6, so that's a pretty dominant position, and we expect the score to be 2-1 probably. Watford, we can get good value on the markets. I found one for you guys just on a regular bookie, Bet Goodwin. I don't know who they are. This podcast is not sponsored by anyone. This is just someone I just found using Odds Checker. But they have Watford minus a quarter goal at 11 to 13, which is as close to evens as I can get today. If you really only bet on evens or better, fair play to you. So just reduce your stake here or use it in a bet builder. But it's still good value, and we are still going to carry this bet. Mainly because we like to have a bet on every day, and 2, because we've got a whole goals gap over Watford winning. So although it's only a minus a quarter on the handicap, it's a whole goal for us, which is good enough for us to make a bet on Watford minus a quarter. Anyway, thanks all. Sorry I've got to go out. No doubt going to drink and eat too much and then get back on the football tomorrow as we head into a huge weekend before the international break. So best of luck, everyone. Kept it to 10 minutes. Like, subscribe, follow. retweet, all that good stuff. We're going to do some giveaways during the international break, maybe some so rare cards that we're getting rid of because we're closing down one of our accounts on that. Anything you fancy, really. And we'll see you all soon. And good luck if you're betting on tonight's Palmeiras game or on Friday night's Watford game.